Okay, so over the weekend, people got to see fucking Avengers Doomsday, or at least that's what a lot of us thought at first. This kind of trended. Did you guys get caught up in it, man? I got caught up in it, and everybody was so mean to me. Because I was like, oh my God, people saw Avengers Doomsday. Because I saw other people saying that people saw Avengers Doomsday. And then, like, I was traveling, so I didn't get to check my phone. I looked down at my phone, everybody's like, no, it's fake. You're so dumb. You're dumb. Nobody saw it or nothing. But Avengers Doomsday was at Destination D23. The Russo brothers did send a video in with Paul Rudd, and there were some things potentially revealed. So what exactly did happen? Well, let's go over this article on the direct. And then I will try to make it make more sense to you after we read this. Official Avengers Doomsday teaser video features X-Men and Fantastic Four heroes. Disney showed a brief behind-the-scenes set video for Avengers Doomsday at Destination D23. Avengers Doomsday filmmakers were prepping fans for the Marvel's ultimate multiversal team-up, which will feature the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Wakandans, the New Avengers, and more from various Earths. The direct was in attendance when Disney and Marvel Studios treated fans at Destination D23 to both a hype reel teaser and a short behind-the-scenes set video for Avengers Doomsday on the morning of Saturday, August 30th, 2025. Director Joe and Anthony Russo took a break from their Doomsday filming in London to say hello to fans with a video message. The message was interrupted by an exuberant Paul Rudd, who stressed the scale of the production and teased the roster that fans got a glimpse of in the teaser video shown during the presentation. The teaser was a rapid montage interspersed with video from the now infamous live-streamed Chaircast and footage of dialogue spotting Avengers Doomsday confirmed characters and actors from their appearance in previous Marvel movies. So to be clear, it's a montage of intercutting the chairs with like actual lines from all these characters from their other movies. Okay, so it says here the montage was served as a powerful reminder of the MCU's rich history and the diverse team of heroes in Doomsday's assembly. Began with Thor's rallying cry from Thor: Love and Thunder. We could pull together the greatest team ever, followed by Sam Wilson's Captain America line from Brave New World. If we can't see the good in each other, we've already lost the fight. Shuri's declaration, now is our time to strike. Transition to Ant-Man's memorable promise from Scott Lang in Venus' memoir was highlighted in Quantumania. Will I be there when the Avengers need me? Absolutely. Continue to build momentum with more inspired dialogue. Thunderbolt star Yelena said, we'll stick together from now on, adding a sense of familial loyalty. Joaquin Torres, Falcon expressed his readiness with that pressure, that responsibility. I want that too. Red Guardian added a touch of optimism. This has the makings of a team that can bring light from the darkness. And Loki provided a reflection touch from the titular Disney Plus series. Raising things to the ground is easy. Trying to fix what's broken is hard. Featuring elements of the broader Marvel universe, namely the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. The video included Professor X's warning from X2. There are forces in this world, both mutant and human alike, who believe a war is coming. Cyclops' dialogue from the 2000s X-Men assured protection. If anything happens, I'll take care of them. The Fantastic Four first steps, Mr. Fantastic affirmed their role as guardians. Today, we are your defenders. We will protect you. The sequence culminated with another empowering call from Shuri Yimbabe, evoking the spirit of Wakanda uniting and assemble to a visual symphony of past triumphs and future battles. The short package acted less as a plot reveal and more as a reminder that Marvel is assembling a massive multi-generational team for the Russos called their biggest movie. In their recorded appearance, the Russos spoke directly to fans about the production in London and the movie's ambition before Ant-Man himself wandered in. Paul Rudd, who has long been expected to make an MCU return, briefly blocked the camera, joking that he didn't have his contacts in, adding humor to the D23 presentation. Russo Brothers Doomsday update from London. In their recorded appearance, Joe and Anthony Russo's were whose epic plans for the MCU you can read more about here, greeted D23 fans directly from the London set, confirming the film's production was well underway. The filmmakers emphasized the scale of Avengers Doomsday, calling it larger than any other project they'd ever take on. Here's what they said. Hi, D23 members. This is Joe and Anthony Russo. Right now we are in London shooting Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday. This movie is, to say the least, a big one for us. It is bigger than anything we have done. We are bringing together so many of your favorite heroes to face one of the greatest threats to the MCU. Paul Rudd shared an additional message focusing on the production scale and the cast involved. We're surrounded by jaw-dropping sets and some truly incredible talent, many of whom you just saw teased in that great video. Bringing this story to the big screen means the world to us, and we couldn't do it without your support. Okay, so that is essentially what was shown. And again, this did kind of make some waves. It's so funny, man. We live in this world where like everybody wants to hate on Marvel and say it's so fucking lame, and yet the reality is like this thing dominates the news cycle. Even this dominated the news cycle and was like a really big deal for people. So it's just funny to me. And so you do have them coming out there, which by the way, Joe has lost some weight. Can we just say that? From the time of him being on stage at SDCC to now, he has lost some weight. And that is either diet, exercise, Ozempic, or the absolute fucking stress and the bearing down pressure of this impossible fucking movie that they've been trying to make. But either way, it looks good. And it's also good to see Anthony. There were a lot of rumors that Anthony had been gone from the set for many months, and people were like, where the fuck is Anthony? Like, did you remember those rumors? And nobody knew what was going on. He's probably shooting some other unit. Either way, this is cool, man. And it did excite people. I think the Sizzler reel, I wonder what you guys think of the Sizzler reel, man. For me, it's fine, but it also kind of speaks to a little bit of the problem with this film, and that is like, dude, all those other characters, like the whole first part of that before you get to the X-Men is not that cool. And I don't think people care that much. Just truly. I just don't care about a lot of those newer characters. And so it's a little bit weird that, like, that's what it is. And we'll see how that goes. But, of course, there's the promise of the X-Men. I think that's a brilliant move, bringing the X-Men in there. And Robert Downey Jr. as well. These are huge draws, right? But there's one more thing that people notice about this that's kind of interesting. And that would be that Paul Rudd is wearing the exact same outfit that he was wearing at the beginning and the end of Ant-Man Quantumania. And if you will recall, the ending of Ant-Man Quantumania is a really weird ending. Okay? And it's after they escape and trap Kang forever in this place or whatever. And there's a couple of weird things that happen in this scene. Number one, a lot of the extras are seen multiple times in the shot. And it's just like weird. And nobody comments on it, but there's like extras that are seen multiple times. And you might be like, okay, well, they just shot that rather quickly. Yeah, that's true. But also Marvel's very careful with these kind of scenes. So it could mean something. The other thing that's weird about it is like he's having an inner dialogue about Kang and if he actually really won or whatever. And there's just something off about that scene where many people thought this was him either trapped in some kind of a time loop, or perhaps he came into a different reality or something like that. And so, I remember when this thing was dropped, there were a lot of different theories about it. But I think the thing that you could probably take away from it the most is that, he is wearing this. And Paul Rudd, funnily enough, 2 days before this presentation, Daniel scooped that Paul Rudd was going to be very important. Ant-Man was going to be very important to Kang Dynasty, which maybe we already knew, but he had said it, and then Paul Rudd comes out on stage. It's kind of interesting. So I think it probably does have something to do with that post-credit scene. And I do think there was something weird about that post-credit scene. I don't know what it is exactly, but there was something weird about it. What this probably points to is some kind of Kang the Conqueror thing. Okay? Some kind of Kang the Conqueror thing and dealing with Kang via the Ant-Man character. Because, of course, Paul Rudd and the Ant-Man character are one of the characters now that has had the most experience with Kang. Other than Loki, right? Like, this dude has had the most experience out of all the Avengers with Kang. He potentially knows about this threat of, like, infinite hymns coming and all sorts of stuff. So it kind of points to, oh, yeah, we're probably going to get some more Ant-Man Kang type stuff here. But here's another thing that's kind of wild, okay? So one of the things I can't get out of my mind, because I recently watched Endgame, and of course Paul Rudd's Ant-Man is an incredibly important part of Endgame also, and he escapes the quantum realm. The whole time travel thing is essentially created because of Ant-Man. And to be real with you, one of the things that always bothered me about Endgame, and I wonder if it bothered you, is the thing with the rat. So, chat, if the rat in Endgame ever bothered you, throw a 1 into the chat. We'll pull up the chat here and we'll see what you guys think. But did that ever bug you? The rat? The rat in Avengers Endgame? Maybe not. Maybe everybody was like, no, that actually makes perfect sense. Like, a random ass rat saves the multiverse. I'm good with it. Okay. Yeah, you see some ones in the chat. So the more I thought about all of this, because we're starting to realize that Loki is such an important part of this film, right? Loki seems to be maybe the end cap of this film. Loki's somewhat involved in all of this, and he's going to play a big role in whatever's happening at Peggy and Steve's house. He's going to play a big role in what happens at the end of the film. He's probably going to play a big role in creating the multiversal Avengers and all that sort of stuff, okay? And so I have been thinking a lot about this, and I kind of think that this rat was not a rat. Okay? And in fact, I'm going to show you this. This is a video, 6 years old. Okay? Walk with me on this. 6 years old. And at the time, many people were trying to explain the rat. Okay? So we're going to watch a little bit of this video together here.
We're talking about Loki. Loki seems way more likely to pull something like this off. Think about it. His motivation fits the scene.
Go on.
The Skrulls would have no reason to go save Ant-Man. Loki has some real stakes in that moment. Without that button press, his life is gone. Boom! No more heir to the throne of Asgard. See, Loki is a character with believability. He is capable of surprises.
Here, I'll turn it down a little.
We could be less conspicuous. Brother.
Disney Plus is giving him his own show, so that might be a place to put this tiny Easter egg. It wouldn't be a huge plot reveal that changes the fabric of the universe. It would simply offer a small nod to the fans watching and a different explanation. Some of the people watching this without seeing Endgame might be confused. If you're one of those people, first, go watch the movie. Second, good on you for powering through spoilers. Not everyone can do that. Anyways, to catch everyone up, Loki survived by using the Tesseract during the failed heist attempt at the Battle of New York. He disappeared to an unknown location, but it means he is alive. Sadly, that detail brings out a complication in this theory. Look, we didn't say it was a perfect explanation. Loki is a player in the MCU thanks to this scene, but it leaves some questions. We're no time experts, but it's possible that Loki still exists in this timeline. It's plausible, but super unlikely. Professor Hulk explains during the first test runs that it would create a rift in a new reality. We see this explained further by the Ancient One during her appearance. In other words, Loki is alive in a different timeline. It would take some serious magic mumbo-jumbo to bring him into the present-day moment. Yeah, the Infinity Stones are powerful, but we're not sure that they're that powerful. Not to mention the fact that Thanos might still be alive in that separate timeline.
So all of this was before the Loki show. But 6 years ago, after Endgame, there were a lot of people thinking about that rat. And Loki is a shapeshifter, you know? And I tried to find examples. He's been many different animals in different stories throughout the entire history of comics. I couldn't actually find an exact example where he became an actual rat or an actual mouse, but birds, foxes, snakes, all sorts of stuff. Loki's transformed a lot, right? And if you think about it, if Loki is at the end of time and he's trying to figure all of this out, and it's kind of like a battle between He Who Remains and the Kangs and Loki, and it's like trying to figure out this loop or whatever, then maybe it was the case that Loki shapeshifted into that rat and actually let him out, which would be wild. Now, look, this to be completely fair, this is a very wild theory, and we're grasping at straws here. But I would like to point out that this was something people were thinking about even back then, because it just seemed really unlikely that a rat, deadass a rat, would actually be the thing that, like, there were so many memes about it. It was like, so this rat just saved the entire fucking timeline? Like, that's really weird, right? Like, it's to this day really weird. And I can't help but think that some of the stuff the Russos are going to do in the next two movies, right, in Doomsday and then in Secret Wars as well, I kind of think they're going to clean up some of their mistakes. This includes Hulk. Hulk's going to become Savage again. Now, that looks to be happening a bit in Brand New Day, but it will factor into his story in Doomsday and Secret Wars. We've heard that. Like, Alex has said that, right? So, clearly the Russos are cleaning up some of the things that happened in Infinity War and Endgame. And if we're talking about like cleaning stuff up, if we're talking about retcons or, you know, retroactive continuity or whatever that makes things make a little bit more sense, I think this is a pretty big one here, you know, and it could explain, you know, not only what was happening there, but what is truly going on with Kang, with the Kangs, with the multiverse, with God of Stories Loki, with all of that sort of stuff. So I don't know, man. I guess just keep this one in the back of your mind. The main thing to take away is like the Doomsday hype and the Doomsday promotion has already started, which I do find really interesting. We're 16 months out of this film, but it is one of the biggest movies on the, you know, on the horizon and maybe ever, really. And I just kind of find it interesting just in general that the Russos and Marvel is willing to do anything. I didn't expect anything on Saturday. And yet it seems like they definitely want to let the fans know and let the fandom know that this is a super big deal and it's huge. And here's some teases and here's some fun. And Paul Rudd seems to be very, very important. And I think he was wearing the same outfit that he wore in Quantumania, and I think that was intentional. What it means exactly is up for interpretation, but either way, kind of fun. So that's the updates with Doomsday. That was what was shown over the weekend. What do you guys think?